Well, let's go ahead and call to order the March 5th, 2025 Citizens Advisory Committee. And let's start with roll call.
Alrighty. Committee Member Kester?
Here.
Committee Member Minkoff?
Here.
Committee Member Sunderland? Vice Chair Barney?
Here.
Committee Member Rizzo?
Here.
Committee Member Stephenson?
Here.
Committee Member Castillo-White?
Here.
Committee Member Terrell?
Here.
Committee Member Stevens?
Here.
Chair Harrington?
Here.
Committee Member Knight? Alrighty.
All right. Do you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Our flag has moved a few feet.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with public comment on any non-agenda items, and I will open up the floor here.
I'm pretty sure we're at the wrong meeting. We were just here to kind of discuss the parking situation for Troutdale. So we're good. This
This is as good as any. Stand.
I wasn't sure. So we received some literature. We own the on Lee, and this is Michelle, my partner.
Hi.
We received some literature saying that they're going to put up 2-hour parking as early as February 10th. I'm just wondering, is that still a go? I haven't heard anything since. The construction parking is increasingly getting worse. As a matter of fact, we had our worst day we've ever had yesterday because of what I think was because of that. So we're just wondering if that's still a go. If it's set on the hours, we're a little concerned with the hours because I believe it was said it was going to be 8 until 6, which means people can start parking there at 4. What really concerns us about that is once the apartments open, we feel like people are going to start the overflow of the people who live there are going to start parking on those streets starting at 4 o'clock and it's going to destroy our late night. Yeah, our dinner. So that's one of our concerns, and I know you wanted to bring up something about the show.
Or do you have anything on?
Yeah.
First,
Yes,
this
Diane.
is Diane. Hi. Did you say your names?
Lee and Michelle.
Leah Michelle, and you are from
You.
Yale. Well, okay. It's nice to have you here. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
You know, I do not have anything around, any information around that. The Citizens Advisory Committee, certainly we take concerns and things from the public and such, but I'm thinking that would probably be more of a council or.
Probably a council. I know that, I'll double check with our director. I know you know Erica.
Yeah.
And so she would have more information.
Well, that's what we thought we were going to. That's why.
Yeah. It's always good to still like kind of go to all the committees. Doesn't hurt, you know, to just like voice it. But yeah, I'll just let Erica know that you stopped by, and I know she has your contact information. And I wrote down your kind of question, that one question. I'll write down what other questions you have, and I'll point in direction.
Erica was the one that emailed me last time, so I look forward to hearing from her.
So what letter did you receive? Was it addressed from Erica or what?
It seemed like it went out to everybody that they were gonna put up the 2-hour parkings along Kendall and then this right here, and gonna give you 2 cars for 2-hour parking.
Dakota, did you have anything to do with that?
I have not been involved
We
with
have it
the
on
parking.
the board right at the top.
Right, I wish I thought of that. Yeah, it had a map on one side, mapping out the roads it was gonna, and then it said as soon as we got it. So it said as soon as February 10th, but it didn't say it was for sure either, but it made it sound pretty much like, you guys don't know anything about it, so that's disappointing.
Yes, Diane.
I would recommend that you totally go to the council. I've been advocating for parking for decades. I foresaw it with some other councilors years ago when we were trying to get parking here.
Right.
and government buildings, so that we knew that that nighttime they would be closed, and offer some paid parking. Just anything foreseeing what was gonna happen and understanding that businesses are vitally important and we want them to thrive. So that us as residents and others can come and gather. And to me, it's premium importance that, because I understand, like even with coffee shops or whatever, you need X amount of customers per hour to pay your employees, to pay yourselves, to pay the electricity bills that keep going up, pay the water, and all the other fees that are involved. And then plus you're offering an awesome service to our community and to others that come to visit Troutdale for tourism and such. To me, you are highly, highly valued, and I just don't think my husband happens to be on council, I speak for myself, but I think they need to hear this from the people that are impacted and that it's affecting. So
How often are the council meetings? Because I didn't see anything on that.
sometimes twice a month, sometimes once a month. I believe the next council meeting is next Tuesday.
Next council meeting is the 11th, so Tuesday. And I can say that they will be having several meetings. I think some may be closed meetings, but I think they're scheduling 5 or 6 throughout the month of April. So they have a lot of stuff that they're working on.
So is next Tuesday an open meeting?
Yep, yeah, definitely, yeah, next Tuesday, 7 o'clock. Yep, all of our meetings start at 7 o'clock.
Was it on the calendar? I didn't see anything that said.
I don't see the council on the 11th on the web calendar.
It should be, like they should be having that meeting. I know I had a project that was just pushed because there was too much on the agenda.
And in fact, I don't see any of the city council meetings on the upcoming meetings list.
I know they were finalizing a lot of the meetings. Erica was finalizing a lot of them, trying to pick the dates because they do have a ton coming up. So they're trying to finalize the scheduling of when they're going to be. So maybe they're just holding it before, I'm sure that should be done this week. But that's another question I can ask Erica, because she's been directly working with Ray on that to figure out when to schedule all those meetings.
But there's for sure.
This is Kevin.
Yes, Kevin?
Thank you. I was at the Planning Commission meeting when the two of you came and addressed the same concern. Since then, I've been wondering, I don't know the answer to it, but what is that building that is across the streets on the same side of Old Columbia River Highway, but it's across that little street there. It's gray. It looks like it's an old auto mechanic thing, but it appears to be empty, vacated.
They're looking, they recently had it was a plumbing company that moved out, and the owners are looking to sell or rent it out.
Rent it out. I wonder if they would consider making it into a parking lot.
I'd be for it, but I don't know, yeah. We've talked with them about just parking there, our personal cars, so they allow our staff to park there while they're closed, which helps, because it gives us somewhere to park, but yeah, the construction during the day is just up and down Kendall, and then
Right.
Wayfinder, they, just opened up, so they're parking as well.
And I don't know if they would be open to sell and making that to paid parking or not. That could be a good
It's a
thing.
big chunk, wouldn't it?
Mhm.
It would work. Well, and I know we talked about it at the city council last time we came. The property on the other side of us, the old house that has the divided property, they're selling their front half of the property as well. So I don't know the cost of it, but that is available.
And then you had a second item too?
Well, so excuse me, there was somebody who I was waiting on the other day that brought up that it was called, they used to sit on council and they don't anymore, but they brought up, it was called the Halsey Corridor Project. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but they said if you're going to meetings to bring it up and see where it was a plan to over by Target, the adjacent property that's open and undeveloped, to make that into kind of public parking / transit, and do like a shuttle system for Cherry Park, Wood Village, and Troutdale. where there would be shuttles coming every 20, 15 minutes. And he said there was a lot of people for that, it was a couple years in them working and stuff, and he's not on the board anymore, but to see if maybe that's something that's still.
Yeah. We haven't had an update from them recently. Yeah, Diane.
Diane, are they speaking of Dean Herford's property, possibly?
This Marley's been handling that
Okay.
project, so I'm not sure, I'm not involved in that one.
Is that somebody from Fairview? Is that the beginning start place?
That'd be over by Target, would be probably,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
probably
I'm
would be
thinking Dean Herford might be
Dean Herford.
part of the shuttle discussion.
He just said, hey, maybe you wanna bring it up and see.
Again, council, I'm recommending council as well, but I'll note that and I'll have somebody know who you're speaking of. Yeah.
And next time I come down for fondue, I'll walk, so I can save a parking spot for someone else.
And thank you for the best sweet for me.
Yes.
Hopefully,
So one thing I can say is that, I personally, certainly to a lesser extent, because the impact is less, but I could definitely commiserate. Because there is a healthy amount of construction traffic on 4th Street where I live. And it does cause problems. It absolutely does. So I can commiserate, and it's definitely something that we're we watch for.
Construction is temporary, but we'll consider, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry. We know that construction is temporary, but our concern is start turning to the apartments.
Yeah.
Because they let that 125
Yeah.
parking
And-
spots for 85 units.
And the conversation, because I had, in the lead up to the beginnings of that, I had directly asked questions about that. It's like how much preemptive action, because we know very roughly what the parking ratio is gonna be for the apartment block, and it's gonna be about 1.5, 1.6 spots per unit. Is that gonna be enough? Nobody knows, because it really, really depends, which is why for the moment, when you ask questions as to what the impact is on surrounding street parking from the apartments is gonna be, most of the answers you're gonna get are that you do get is a wait and see. That's not a great answer, but it is, as the great detective said on multiple occasions, in some cases, it's a capital mistake to theorize in advance of data. And we know that the data of street parking now directly impacts your business, and that's something that definitely does need addressing. Theorizing what impact the apartments is gonna have is really hard.
I understand. We just appreciate being heard, so
Yep.
we'll make sure we stop in next Tuesday.
And we appreciate you coming.
Yes.
Yes, please, feel free to drop by anytime. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Right. I'm gonna open up for public comment on any non-agenda items via Zoom.
Yes, this is Kevin.
Hello, Kevin.
Hi there. I would like to make a motion that we pursue, as a committee, participatory budgeting. I brought this issue up last month, and I would like to act upon it. We were given some excellent information from Paul Wilcox regarding what I was not aware of previously, and now I am, the idea that we look at what are discretionary items on the Troutdale budget and present it to the community and solicit their input as to what the citizens would like to see accomplished, and put that forward. So my motion is that we actually begin to educate ourselves on what is participatory budgeting. There are some videos available on the subject that we can learn, and then we formulate a plan for initiating participatory budgeting.
Oh, yes.
I guess the first question I have is, other than if we as a committee were to agree that that was a good idea and maybe made a presentation, wouldn't that be more of a matter for like the budget committee or the council, since it's budgetary related and we don't really deal with that here?
That is correct. Unfortunately, anybody's welcome to go to the budget committee meetings and, discuss. But from what I was informed when I looked into this after our last meeting is that the budget committee will not be going out to the public. The public is welcome to go to them and have a comment, but what's in the budget is for what the city finds is necessary to be completed within said year. Those are different projects, different things of that nature, especially when it comes to public works projects. They typically have the most on there because they have a long list, and a lot of things usually get kicked to the next year. But as a committee, I don't believe that we can move forward with any sort of discussion other than trying to get public to show up to the meetings and participate in a way that the public can. But they will not be coming here to give us a presentation of what's on the budget. That's not something that they do, but anybody's welcome to go to the budget committee meetings.
Okay, well, I'm going to push back on that. And from my study of participatory budgeting, it is not a short-term process by any means. So Dakota, you're concerned about the fact that there are certain items on the budget that must be handled within a given year, maybe even within a given couple of years. But the participatory budgeting happens outside of city council. It is a public discourse and a public effort to try to influence city council to listen to, and I know this feeds directly into what the Citizen Advisory Committee is supposed to be, the link between the public voice and city council. So I've been on this now for going on maybe 2 years or a year and a half, and this would be some meat, so to speak, that we could actually participate in and gather public comment that we bring to the budget committee. And like I said, they're going to feed back to us what are mandatory items that have to get taken care of on a year-by-year basis, but there are absolutely discretionary items. And to say that the budget committee is not interested in public comment when it is the Citizens Advisory Committee's responsibility to solicit public comment. We are the Citizens Advisory Committee. And so I absolutely believe that this is something that we can handle and ought to.
Yes.
This is Adrian. So this is one of those, while I wholeheartedly believe that the concept is founded in that, and I've advocated for this repeatedly, that part of our role is and part of what we're trying to enhance is the pathways for information to go both ways. I mean, our primary task is enhancing those pathways, not necessarily the moving of the information itself. Because every one of the committees, every one of the volunteer committees in this city is at some level, a citizen-involved committee, and that includes the budget committee. That's why those meetings are public. But in this particular, and one of the things we have to be very careful of, particularly when it comes to budgeting, is that things are necessarily extremely complicated when it comes to what goes on, what is on, and why things are on the city's annual discretionary budget. And that's not the kind, that's the kind of thing you have to take care with how that gets presented, and all of the nuances and complications that go with it, because otherwise things will very quickly become misunderstood, and that is one thing we definitely do not want.
Yes, Shelby.
Shelby, I think that we should really actively try to drive people to go to the budget committee meetings.
Agreed.
We should be encouraging that, and they go directly to the source and voice their concerns rather than going through us. We don't need to be, I mean, I think that's our good role, a big important role is to drive people to these various committees to make a difference.
Which is kind of what I was just saying. It's like our primary goal is to enhance the pathways, enhance the methods. So it's just like what we were talking about, like checking in with staff and such on what sort of data are we getting back, and how are people linking in with the city. And when people come with concerns, we can certainly pass those along, but for citizen involvement, for our citizen involvement plan role, it's the how information is moved around is going to be where we will do the most good.
And I think we have some members, your budget, right? Budget also, and you also. And so I wonder too, if there were something that the budget committee did want some feedback, that they could come to us looking for that information, or how the citizens felt about something. Because I don't want to overstep our boundaries, right? And as Adrian was saying, that specific expertise that you guys develop at looking at that document and the budget over years, and certainly the skill set, even Kevin, you were saying that was involved in that, the different things we would need to study and get up on. I think those are all great points, and it sounds like the direction that we have here now is that that those two will remain kind of separate, but certainly will encourage people to attend that meeting, and especially when we know there's something important coming up, it would be great to get that feedback here. If there was something exciting on the agenda that you specifically might want feedback on, we could try to solicit people to attend that meeting.
Did you mean like on the budget committee?
Yeah, yeah.
Could I say something about that?
Yeah.
Cause see, I'm not like necessarily against, well, this is Chris, I'm not necessarily against this. One of the concerns I have is that I don't know how much wiggle room there is in the agenda for that particular meeting, because those are very long meetings. And usually the way it works is the budget comes in two pieces. We have a small one for the confluence and then the big main city budget. And usually the confluence goes nice and easy, and we usually pass that thing real easy all the time. But then we get to the main city budget, where we have a large amount of time spent listening to Eric feed us from a fire hose with all kinds of information about what's in the budget, how much money's going where, and how it's gone over the years, whether it's got more or less expensive and stuff like that. And then, of course, we have the time, I guess I would call it the battle period, where we debate the budget and try to pass the thing, and that's usually a pretty tense moment in the meeting for the main budget. So it's not like I do believe citizens should be involved, as this is related to the city where they live. It's just that it's already such a long process, because it's not so easy to pass the main budget, although, I mean, I don't know, it's already a crazy process, especially since it's only like 2 days out of a year to do it. And there's also the other 2 days in the middle of the year where we get a bunch of information from Eric for how things have been going since we passed the last budget, and that's still a massive information dump that takes quite a while, even though we don't really vote on anything there, except for, I think that's when we normally nominate our new chair and vice chair and all that, but anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, I think for the budget committee, if the concern is highlighting specific priorities, in the city budget, I think probably the more effective path, rather than diving into the nitty-gritty of the accounting of it, for lack of a better term, is to increase involvement in all of the other pieces, increase involvement with parks, with PSEC, with city council, with all of the bits and all of the other citizen committees that are driving the budget and creating the input into what those priorities are. And that's where you get in earlier in the process. It's sort of the same thing I've been saying kind of with the chat that we're eventually going to have with planning commission later on, is getting involved early as much as possible, because by the time the budget committee is actually having their meetings, the process is basically almost done.
Oh, sorry, yes.
And actually, I did have a question for you, Kevin. I was curious, like, just to clarify, I guess I'm wondering, like, are you concerned that something's being concealed from the citizens, or that there's some wrongdoing in some section of the budget or something?
No, absolutely not. I just see that there are quite a number of projects there that are listed on the budget. Every single one of them is allocated funds in the budget. It is a zero, net zero budget, meaning all the revenues that come in have to be allocated somewhere. That doesn't mean that they spend the money every year, all the money that comes in every year. And but there are numerous discretionary projects. And at the budget committee meetings, I've seen those discretionary projects are generally left to city staff to decide. The city council and other budget members may, they do throw out a suggestion or something. I have to say, with the exception of Paul, they throw them out relatively timidly, these suggestions on what ought to be done and what discretionary projects should be undertaken. But there are quite a few. So it occurs to me that if a group were to actually publish what all these discretionary projects are, and it's not a mystery, and they aren't hiding anything from us. They're readily available, or should be, but our job being that communication link with the citizens of Troutdale could publish this list, get feedback in general, and then bring it back to the budget committee.
Yes.
Can you give an example?
Kevin,
Of one- Yeah. And maybe there's an explanation for it?
Sure. One of the discretionary projects is the Beaver Creek Bridge. Another one is that's the big one that I see, and people are saying, oh yeah, we really need to get that done. Well, we budgeted money for it, but I don't know, it's really not a priority. Other things are.
And because is that one we are also waiting for a grant?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to have it, I said this last meeting, we have to have it in the budget. If we are waiting for a grant and we get the grant, we have to have the matching funds, or we can lose the grant. Is that not correct?
Correct.
Okay,
So,
well, you asked for an off the top of my head example. Maybe that wasn't a very good example.
well, there's quite a few that we are waiting for grants. And we have to have them in the budget. Because if we don't have those matching funds available, we can lose the grants.
Well, I didn't say anything about removing items from the budget. All I'm suggesting is that we assist in the prioritization of the discretionary items on the budget. Dakota, am I wrong? There are no discretionary items on the budget?
I am not involved in the budget, so I actually don't look at the budget. That's all done by our building manager and community development director. I actually have I don't even know what's on the budget.
Okay, Paul, do you mind if I ask for your input? Tell me if I am overstepping here. Are there discretionary items on the budget that the public could weigh in on, or is that absolutely not the case? Paul?
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, sure, there's, the capital improvement projects could easily be prioritized.
And so what are they, for example?
Well, one would be the resurfacing of Imagination Station, for example.
Okay. So is that a better example of something that the public could weigh in on?
I think we are following. There's a couple hands up in the room. I'm gonna pull into the conversation, okay?
Yep.
Adrian?
Yeah, I think the point that most are trying to make here is that the situation and the reasons why an individual project is on the budget and why it gets done at a particular time is complicated. Sometimes things are delayed because of lower priorities. Sometimes things are delayed because we're waiting on grants. We're waiting on matching funds from other agencies. But all of the things have to be ready in the budget for whenever all of that other stuff happens. I mean, there's multiple spinning plates, multiple moving pieces, and the budgetary work that happens at the city level is in preparation for that. So even if something is said to be a lower priority, if the grant comes in and all of the other pieces fall into place, it happens. Because that's when everything is ready.
Shelby, and then.
Shelby, I think also what I've understood when I attended the budget meetings, if I haven't sat on the committee, but trying to understand it, is that the budget isn't balanced. We plan to, if we did everything that was in the budget, we would overspend by tons of money. And maybe that's what Kevin is trying to get at. It's just that the citizens aren't getting to prioritize maybe, but some of that maybe we can't. It's beyond our control, but maybe we could do a better job. Maybe there are some things that we could just take off. So, but I think we have to drive people to go to the budget committee. And just what, I think Victoria sent us something before that explains the budgeting process that we could look into. So we have to understand a lot more for us to be very effective when we go to the budget meetings to be able to testify. So this might be a many-year process for all of us, but we could make a difference, Kevin. I get we could, but we still need to drive people to probably go and testify. We as a committee could come up with some suggestions, but I think the big thing is we need to drive the public comment to go there, and we all need to understand the budgeting process better to be more effective.
Yeah.
So.
It's
Tweaks.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
I think Shelby really hit on the point of this. The first thing that Kevin mentioned
mentioned was educate. I'm sorry, did I miss something?
Oh, I forgot I.
This is Frank. Go ahead.
Yes, I will come to you next. I am so sorry, I did not mean to. Oh, I told him he was next and then.
So, while I think we all need to get educated on this topic, and I think Kevin brought up a solid point that the first step is to get educated. I agree with all of the comments that are going on, but I don't know a lot about the topic. I have read the budget, and I do know there's some discretionary stuff in there that I look at and go, why do I have this here when we need money at the park to fix this? So I have questions as well. It's not easy to read, it's complicated, like Adrian was saying, it's incredibly, there's a lot of moving plates. There are things we're waiting for grants, it's got a lot of moving pieces, we have capital projects, we have discretionary. All those pieces come together, and as you said, staff is usually coming to us with put a rubber stamp on it and just go with it. And I think it's our job to keep it transparent and easy to read for our citizens. And it's not. It is not an easy budget to read. And I think that is something that we could be doing at the CAC, and that would fall under what Adrian was talking about, how we are the conduit, what was it you said, we're focused on the pathway, and that is the pathway format that we need to go with. So I would make a motion that we, as a minimum, get educated on the topic, and then come back and discuss it.
Great. Chris?
Well, and I guess a couple things that I would add to that. I feel like plain and simple, one of the issues with that is just time. Because although I don't have any behind the scenes knowledge, I get the impression that Eric doesn't have as much time as would be preferable to prepare such a document, because we're always finding little typos and things all over the place as we're going through the different sections of the book. And the way they go through the book when he presents all the different parts of it and stuff is a little weird, because I think he kind of skips around. I don't think he necessarily goes straight through from cover to cover like you would if you're reading a novel or something. And some of the other concerns I'm hearing, I think those are concerns that are shared by some of the people on the committee, because I vaguely remember some discussions of this kind of thing in the meetings where there are certain items on the budget that are on there year after year, and it seems like they're always being brought up in the sense of like the debate of should they still be on the budget, or the fact that they're on there year after year but nothing seems to get done with them and that kind of thing. So I think that has been an area of contention even among the committee when we have our meetings, from what I've seen.
Right. Any other comments on this? Yes, Diane.
I was thinking what Frank was saying as well, is if minimally, if poor busy Eric was able to come and explain in 8th grade level how they arrive, or how the budget system worked, and also look at whatever material, there's probably material, I haven't looked in the books and see there's that's what you've already sent, right? But if there's questions to be asked too, then we could get some verification, at least that they could go, hey, that at this council, CAC meeting, we had this discussion. And then also that there could be a process paper. So when somebody does come, and I used to go to all of them back in the day, and then they have it for any citizen that would walk in, a little 101, and then what their time is to do public comment or whatever, so they could at least, if they're coming in, understanding what's going on, what are they doing, some basics again, if that's included in what Victoria had already given, but that's available to the public when they do come in, and so that they can also understand, have a 101 of what the process is and what's happening that night, and how many times they meet, and what they discuss in the year, so they know when to come, at what point they have. And then also that they know too, like a lot of times what's driven is committees driving, then what ends up being on on finance docket as well for budgetary purposes. So, I don't know, that's just my thought.
Yes, Rick?
I just want to clarify, the topic that I was speaking of was participatory budgeting. I don't know a lot about that. I would love to have Eric come and have us ask questions. That would be great in a one-on-one. I think that would be solid as well. I think that's just general knowledge would be great for all of us, and I think that's a first step. I also think we're kind of hung up on what's gonna happen. We've already missed the boat on this budget. It's too close. I mean, we start April, May, and it's already a done deal. But we could be looking at next year's budget. And next year, how are we gonna handle that? And this ties in with where we're going with our goals. And,
Yeah.
so I don't wanna get too hung up on this year's budget, and I think the focus, this is more of an educational, and then we're kind of looking at next year.
Victoria?
The budget is never set in stone.
No, I'm not saying,
I know, I'm just saying, so if there is, like Paul suggested, imagination station, and I know, I'm on lots of committees, so I know that is a big problem. And I mean, if the public comes out, and sometimes the budget does change, we have to take from here to put to here, but we can change it. I mean, even though it's probably pretty much set, we do have discussions and change things in it. So, and I do encourage the public to come. And if I remember right, it's April 14th and 16th at 6 o'clock. So, and Eric does give a little how-to at the beginning, so, of what we're doing.
I wonder, oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I would suggest that we all do that, link to do the budgeting stuff. Review it a little before, if we really intend to jump in here this year. That would be good for us.
Yeah. Chris?
Couple other things I would jump in with, like, of course, I don't know what Eric's schedule is like, but it might be better to, if we wanted him to come to a meeting for a Q&A or whatever, might be better to do it in May or June because, well, Victoria already set the date of the budget meetings for this year, and like literally our next meeting will be basically about 2 weeks before that happens, so he'll be probably pretty busy trying to finish things up to do that presentation, because he also makes a slideshow that shows all the stuff he's talking about that we see up there while he's talking, because he stands at a podium over here with a computer where he controls that. The other thing is there is, I do believe, flexibility in the budget, because we have had many discussions and debates about whether to keep stuff in there, whether to change things and how to allocate certain things. Like I remember last year when we did this, there was some contention because the previous mayor was of the viewpoint that we should just trust city staff to put this thing together, but there were other committee members that were like, no, that's not how that works, so we had some contention over that. So there are things like that that go on in those meetings.
I really like that idea, so maybe what we could do is, over the next couple meetings, if we commit to going and looking at the link that was sent out and getting some information, and then we could keep this on our agenda as a discussion topic and maybe sharing that. And then once the busy season is done, we might ask Eric to come and present to us and maybe just give us a high level. So as citizens, we can do some studying and I'll maybe know a little bit about what they're talking about.
Yeah, the budget will be linked that you can go on and look at the budget before you come to the meeting. And it is a lot to go through. So, I mean, but if something on there really sticks out for you, and a lot of you are on other committees, so you know some priorities that that committee may have, you can come and testify and make your point. Or use the imagination station again. very many people want to see it done and done right. And I'm sure if we had enough public that came out and used that as an example. So, and like I said, go on those links I sent you, and then, I'm gonna say the budget's out a week before. Is that about it? Do we get it about a week before our meeting?
Oh, yeah, we usually get it, in the mail, it's a big like yellow envelope that has those 2 books stuffed into it.
Yeah, and they usually throw it on my porch. But then as soon as we get it, it's linked
Okay,
on the city website.
so like a week before the meeting?
Yeah,
On the,
and if it's sooner, I'll just email
Okay.
y'all. It's out,
Yeah, I have a comment. I do believe that if we do involve Eric, that we should, do a little bit of homework, and then we get to see everything that pertains to budget, that we already know what, anything that's in, that the city already has, ordinances or whatever, anything that's involved, so we could do a little bit of homework first. So then when we do talk to Eric, that we are educated, and then we have some informed, things that we come up in our mind to have a meaningful, conversation.
don't forget, this is a big budget meeting, because it's fire and police. And it's gonna take a big chunk out of our budget,
yes.
so just
Yeah.
letting you know.
All right,
Well, before we can abandon this issue, there is a motion on the table.
It wasn't seconded.
Well, we went to discussion, so, okay, thank you.
What was the motion? Did you repeat that?
Kevin, can you repeat your motion?
Yeah, the motion was to engage this committee in setting up or establishing a participatory budgeting effort, and moving forward with first, just basically the initial stages to take it on as a project.
I would second that from an education standpoint. Is that the wording that you would use?
Well, it wasn't really education, it was actually, I mean, education is the first step, but actually engaging in the process of establishing participatory budgeting for the city of Troutdale.
So I'm opening that up if anybody wants to second what he said.
As an agenda item, I want to clarify that.
Right,
I would second that as an agenda item. For discussion in the future. It would be a future discussion.
So do we vote then?
Diane, I'm not understanding it, because we had talked, it looked like we were talking about gathering further information, seeing what there is available, and then talking to Eric so we could kind of wrap or get a 101, an understanding. That I would motion that. What Kevin is talking about sounds like a bigger, broader, and that information is one step of our obligation to then proceed and create something. To me, that sounds like a new committee.
Yeah.
Something that's, that would be very involved, and then also then to find out how complex things are, and things are moving parts, or like Imagination Station, what is the obligation to the first party that did the contract and did a substandard job upon that fill? What is his obligation? What are legals that are going on? I understand things are complicated. I don't know if that's part of that conversation. I'm not on parks, but I do know the entity that did do it, and I know it wasn't done to standard, and that there are issues. And I understand, like, everything else that's involved in possibly in the budget came from committees, got on there, and that they are quite complex. So me personally, I'm not, I would be more comfortable with the 101 and then talk to Eric and then proceed, then make a motion as to further, to go forward. That's just my thought.
So to clarify, I think we do have a motion open, we have a second, and so we should probably vote on that, and then we can move to the second if that does not pass?
Yeah.
Okay,
But his motion is to begin as participant.
yes, that is what his motion is, yes. As an agenda item,
Vote on this, we should probably do a roll call, so.
okay. Do you want to do roll call?
Alrighty. Committee member Kester,
No,
committee member Minkoff,
Yes,
vice chair Barney,
You come back to me.
committee member Rizzo,
No,
committee member Staphenson,
No,
committee member Castillo White,
No.
committee member Terrell,
Yes.
committee member Stevenson, or Stevens, sorry, I said it twice.
Yes.
Vice chair Barney,
No.
chair Harrington,
No.
noes have it.
All right. So do we want to,
do we need to vote on the 101? Because I mean, that seems to be sort of a, just put it on the agenda for the next meeting or two.
that, yeah,
That's what.
Because that's not, because what Kevin was suggesting is kind of an involved process.
Yes.
What Diane is suggesting is put stuff on the future agenda.
And, I mean, my thought on that is that I feel like this is similar to other things where we would just reach out to Eric and see if he could come, like we did with Ray Young, and we were discussing like, what is the purpose of this committee and all that stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we will put this on the agenda for our next meeting, and we will start looking into the educational piece and keep this alive and start educating ourselves on that process and look into the future for bringing Eric in, yes.
This is Diane. I do want to say, Kevin, I know where you're going and I appreciate where you're going, and it is something that I do want to learn more of and to get educated and to see where there is opportunity to tweak things or make some suggestions and to get more involved in. So I'm not saying that I'm disinterested in at all at what you did propose. I just really need a basic understanding and to see what's in the books and such so that I can make an informed, educated decision going forward in whatever way that might be.
by the way, I'll just mention that the Department of Revenue, Oregon Department of Revenue puts on a webinar. It's a series of 3 webinars on state budgeting. It is the process, so you can't.
That's last month. I linked everybody to that last month.
Well, the first one is on the 20th of this month. And then it's one, then the following week, the 27th, and the following week, April 3rd. So they are available through the Department of Revenue, and you can register for those if you'd like to get some more information on budgeting.
Thank you, thank you. All right, let's move on to agenda item number 3, and that,
Excuse me, Twyla.
yes, Paul.
I think we're still in public comment after that detour. I wanted to speak, it's Paul Wilcox, Troutdale. I wanted to speak to the first public comment from the folks from the old pub. It sounded like they got a neighbor's notification that the signs were going in. So that kind of indicates the signs are in the works. And the last I heard from staff, I'm not sure whether it was Ray or Eric or who, but the signs were on order. So it is in the works. It's just a matter of, they haven't gotten to it yet for whatever reason. I think it would be a waste of their time to go to council. They're not gonna know what's going on. They did raise an interesting point about extending the time limit. I think it's set to apply from 8 AM to 6 PM with a 2-hour limit. Sounded like they might want to extend the 6 PM to 8 or something like that, but I don't think anybody's going to be out there writing tickets at 6 PM anyway. So I wouldn't worry about that. But I think the best people to refer them to would possibly be Public Works. Either Travis Holton or I think the streets guy is David Schaefer. So just, invite him to walk up to Public Works on 4th Street and get it right from the source, rather than, going through the upper levels that don't always know what's going on the ground. That's all I have. Thank you.
That's a great idea, thank you.
You can't get there because there's no place on 4th Street to park.
Email, they can
I
email.
think I said walk.
Thanks, Paul.
All right, so I don't see anybody else on. Number 3 is review and approval of the February 2025 meeting minutes. Did anybody have any corrections? Yes.
Well, one thing that I noticed on those that I'm curious about, so when we started getting this new format of minutes, I was being a stickler about the fact that it didn't have the entire transcript of the meeting, and I'm not going back to that. I've kind of given up that warpath, so to speak, but I did notice a couple things in glancing through it, like at the end, where it has the section where we do committee member comments. It only includes information about what 2 of us said. And I know for a fact that every member that was at the last meeting said stuff when we got to that part of the meeting.
Pulling them up here to look. So are the other committees, is the norm now just kind of going to the transcript, the video link for the whole meeting summary?
No, Chrisanne still listens to each meeting multiple times to get the information, and then tries to summarize it.
Okay,
But yeah, I wrote that down for comment to discuss with her and see. 'Cause I don't know what her process is. She puts these together, and yeah, I mean, not fully certain about it, but I can let her know that.
I don't think you said that. I haven't read that. I have to be bad. I don't think Diane talked about public safety having the Burton, the dog.
oh, that was you, probably.
It's probably me.
Yeah, so that might be a thing too then.
So that's why, that was bad on my part. I didn't review those.
All right, so does anybody, do we want to make,
That correction.
yeah, a correction and approve the minutes with that correction, or do we need to look at them further?
I would make the motion we approve with corrections for the minutes of, what's the date?
February 5th.
February 5th?
I will second that.
Everybody in agreement? Yes, perfect.
Nope.
In a no? Okay,
Probably call it, I'm not sure Kevin caught that we were voting on that.
Kevin, were you able to hear us?
Yes,
Okay,
it was just a general vote, correct?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. So those are approved with the correction. And we are on to discussion item number 4, the outreach program. Are we calling our outreach program that the, Is that the Excel spreadsheet I sent to you?
I think so, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Are you able to
Yep,
pull that up
totally.
and we
I have it
can
up
take
right
a
here.
look at it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I, after our last meeting, tried to remember all the wonderful ideas and such that we had come up with. And this is just a starting point for us to kind of capture our ideas, our goals for the year, and then our ongoing goals, the great ideas we don't want to lose. And then we'll kind of, I thought we could go through each tab first, and then we could add together what we've omitted. And then we can just hold on to this document and kind of look at it each meeting to make sure we're staying on track and where we want to be. So our projects for 2025 thus far is the developing the citizens involvement plan review. And that is an annual review. I think we just had, when we had talked about it, having it be annually. And then our goal would be to have that hopefully this first year somewhat done by the end of the year, so that we could present to council and then start again the next year. So is that what you guys were thinking? Is there anything we should add to that? We're also, for our goals, finalizing the charter. You guys all know about that. We are going to Planning Commission on the 12th. So that's next Wednesday. And that is a 7 o'clock start time. So we're on the agenda. I know Adrian's gonna be in Dakota. That's your meeting also. So if you guys have time and want to come, that would be great to see you all there. And then we had talked about also this year looking at, we'll be looking at the code edits Dakota was gonna bring to us. I don't know if I got those dates right, that was just from my notes.
And that was a brief, what I had mentioned from the last meeting.
Okay.
And I went to go, if you look at the packet, I added kind of just a rough list. I opted not to put the dates in there because right now they're all pretty fluid.
Okay.
So, it will be sometime more this summer, but I don't know the exact dates. I'll give a little bit of update on that for one of the projects that's coming during my staff communications.
The only other thing that I thought in my brain that we might want to put on this is that each year we also have to appoint somebody to TCAB. So I don't know if we want to put that as on one of the things, so we keep that on. Paul was nice enough to point out that the ordinance says it has to be done from April 1st to June 30th. And it looks like last year we did it in July, so.
No, it ends in June.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
our term ends in June. And so when the new committee on July 1st is in tax and we vote.
Yes, he was gonna take it, I believe, to council, because the ordinance does say we're supposed to do it in that timeline, but we end up doing it in July, which makes sense, so something.
One of those places where the ordinance doesn't really match up with reality.
Right, right. But it'd be good to, I'm just thinking if one of us hit our head or something and forgot about all these things, to have it.
It was April through.
The ordinance says April 1st to June 30th. And I don't know, what other things do you guys know annually that we've kind of committed? Yeah, Frank.
Do we have anything else from staff on comprehensive plan or?
That's kind of, if you look in the packet, the list of what's coming, that's where we're at right now that we know of. And for example, the first thing is the housing compatibility analysis. And that's the first step. So there's multiple things we have to do before we get to the comprehensive plan. And that's one of them. Along after the housing compatibility study, once that's done, then we typically do an economic analysis. And then once that's done, we use those documents to update the comprehensive plan. So yes, but it might, I thought we would be getting to it this year. We're getting to the starting steps this year. So we have to have the housing compatibility analysis, they changed what it used to be called an HNA, but now it's changed. So I think that has to be done every 4 years. So that's time to update. And then the economic needs or economic analysis, that has to be done every 5 years. And then all those wrap into the comprehensive plan. So we can't update the comprehensive plan until we know what do we have as far as housing, where are we gonna grow to over the next 20 years, projections, and what are we gonna need or what kind of style in order to get to that. Same with economics. So that's why we need those plans first to then wrap into the comprehensive plan. So more than likely, we're starting off with the housing compatibility analysis this year. Want to start probably towards the end of this year, maybe early next year on the economic portion, and that'll take almost a year to get done. And then once that's done, then we get to the comp plan. And then right when we're done with the comp plan, we get to go right back in and update the housing compatibility study. So that's long range planning for you. It takes you a long time to do, and once you're done, you have to start doing it again. So, yeah.
So everything's behind the scenes right now, it's not on our agenda.
Correct. And the reason why, like, we just kind of put it in there is I believe, if I remember correctly from what Erica had told me, is we're working on a grant to help us with the housing compatibility study. And once we get that, then we'll be starting that ball rolling. Compared to the Main Streets on Halsey Corridor Code update, that we have the grant, just send out the LOI or RFP, whatever you want to call it, to a couple of consultants, hoping to hear back by the end of this month, because we need to have a consultant on board by April 1st. And then once we have the consultant on board, staff will meet with the consultant, figure out what their vision is for it, and hear us out. Once they put together their kind of plan, that's when we come to CAC first and discuss, report feedback, take that back, discuss with the consultant, then go to Planning Commission, hear what they have to say, then come back, probably update again, and so on and so forth until we get the actual code package. The code package has to be done by the end of the year. So the time frame, once we get the consultant, I need to rewrite the time frame for that grant, because the original time frame we received the grant later than anticipated. So our time frame, like, we should be basically towards the end of our grant right now, but we're actually just at the start. So all of those are off. And I was looking at it when I was writing this, and I was saying, I don't know where we're gonna be at until I see what we get from the consultant. Then I have to redo that, update the grant, and then move forward. So that's why I didn't add some of those dates in there.
Code edits is appropriate.
Code edits is appropriate, because we're gonna be doing, and those are like long-range code edits, obviously. Yeah, because those will be coming down.
For this year.
For this year, yeah. 2 for sure this year, as far as like grants and code. Some of the long-range projects that staff will be bringing, historic district, for those of you who are on HLC, working on a historic district, they'll be, I believe, they'll be coming to give, just get some feedback or just inform. Urban Forestry Master Plan, that's another grant that was received. So that will also require some public engagement. And then I have in there any future development code amendments that we will be having, because there are several that we have, just a matter of whether or not we can get to them this year. And then updates, there's downtown parking study. They want to come back and just update everybody on what's going on there. Same with the climate friendly and equitable communities, CFEC. That's pretty much wrapped up. I know Erica she's still gonna be doing some work session with the Planning Commission. That has to be done by June 30th. The full code amendment has to be adopted. So I believe she wants to come back and give another update of where Planning Commission's thinking, update CAC before going to Planning Commission for recommendation, and then down the line for the full-on code amendment. So that's why they're listed there, that they will be here. Some of them more or less updates, some are more projects. But right now we just don't have exact dates set in stone.
Thanks for the detail.
Yeah, sorry. Long-winded, but I'm sorry. Rather give too much than too little.
Great. The next tab we have are the project lists that we had talked about. I know Diane had mentioned the town hall, committee photos, and I didn't have a chance to get to your email here, so Is there anything else that we missed? And then I know, Frank, you also had been taking some great notes, so it,
Yeah, I'm actually looking at my notes, so, Excel spreadsheet, that's done. I did write down, we talked about how do we get out to the city, and would we break it into sections, or how would that work? I know that was somewhere on my notes. And then the CSA, the actual council demographics, like where is most of the council members, where are we at in the city? I don't know if that's pertinent or not. And then, we mentioned the use of liaisons, but it seems like we're all on other committees, so I think that fills the void on its own, but that would be something to look at. So having a liaison that goes to planning and a liaison that goes to, does that make sense?
that might be something we should put, that we review every July.
That's sort of part of the review, the involvement review is the going out and talking to everybody that does citizen involvement with check-ins saying, hey, how you doing?
So it's
So,
only once a year.
yeah, but it's not, I mean, it's sort of a rolling across the year effort.
And who, could you walk me through that?
I think I'm talking about something different.
You might, yeah, we might be, because I'm part of the intent, at least when I know when I first wrote it down, was to have an annual check-in with everybody that is involved with moving information around between the city and the citizenry. So we have an annual check-in with each of the committees, with the different staff members that are responsible for the social media and the website and all of that stuff. And if things change, maybe we have multiple check-ins, but we check in at least once
Yeah,
over
that's,
the course of the year.
okay, I get that. It's just different than what I was thinking. So when I was saying liaisons, it was liaisons from CAC to other communities,
Yeah,
and that would be monthly.
yeah, that might be a bit much.
Yeah, so, but that was on top. So, but that.
Yes.
With so many people on multiple committees, it's actually pretty cool.
It's also to a certain extent moot, because with various of us on multiple committees, we pass things around naturally just while we're here.
It might be though, even though we might not have an update each time, it's like when we do our committee roundabout at the end, if you had something from like PSAC you knew would be relevant,
Exactly.
that we
Yeah.
kind of bring that into the structure and remind each
So
other.
it's like a subcommittee concept, where it's
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm also on this committee, and here's what we're working on, just to bring you guys up to speed.
Yeah.
But that's at every meeting as a roundtable.
Yeah, when we do that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anyway, and then, under the getting the word out, town hall, champion, Facebook, social media, photo op, you guys want everyone's picture?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had put, have pictures taken of the committees that we can use to create articles or posts to inform and showcase a friendly, approachable community volunteer feel. It can be used as a communication tool to encourage other citizens to join a committee or feature an upcoming topic. So per quarter, the Troutdale Champion is sent out to Troutdaleans and could feature one or all of the committees. It may feature an also an acceptance period of committee applications. And I footnoted all volunteering opportunities give residents a way to getting involved in our community that may lead to joining a committee or benefiting their Troutdale knowledge base for someone who's considering applying for a council seat. And then I mentioned on the City of Troutdale Facebook page, have a way to highlight topics of committees or any public meeting where there is a high encouragement for residents to come to the meeting to give input for meetings with agenda items that highly benefit or are in need of more community input. So that's, there's a lot of stuff on the Facebook, and then how does one pop out from the others? And like I said, I didn't know if it's like participation alert or what. I don't know how to do that, but some meaningful way to, if somebody's like saying, hey, I want to come to a meeting, but then where are we more, them not being bored out of their mind, but that something we really would like them to come and hear from them. Topic, yeah. So anyway, that just a few notes.
I like that. So I'll take the notes, and I'll update the spreadsheet and add that to, what we have here. Those are great. And then if you guys think of anything else yeah.
I've known other committees to pull in for leadership opportunities, kids from high schools. I think that would be a good idea for CAC, because of perspective from especially a high school student, or even a college student from an community college, I think we've heard that.
Yeah.
That would be a good perspective that we don't typically have.
It would certainly be worthwhile reaching out to Reynolds to see.
They have, I know I've got a junior, yeah, they have
My
leadership.
daughter's in it too, so,
Yeah.
My son, both my sons are in that
So it's kind of a
leadership
mentor.
track, yeah.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it's a great way to get the word out. Schools are like the hub of social media.
yeah.
So if we want to get the word out to the city, utilizing the school system is,
Reynolds had one of their high school classes come to one of our first public safety meetings. And,
Yes.
they were on, we were there.
Yeah, yeah.
You remember, hi, Mrs. Rita. I taught a lot of them. And so that was fun, and I think they got credit for coming, which is always the incentive.
that's an incentive.
That
And
I love
so,
that.
and then we have Cheryl on, yeah, she's a counselor now, and she can help, because she's at the high school.
I love that. I'm definitely gonna put that on our list. That would,
Yeah,
Be kind of-
I think it's great for them to get involved.
yeah. Great idea.
I think my notes reflected businesses too. I think that came from the importance of having businesses involved. Sometimes we forget there's more than just that. Also the area by the, yeah. So we got other areas of the city that really aren't well represented, that we don't really hear from.
Yeah. I do think it would also be interesting someday just to do, when we have a lighter agenda, like I thought we were gonna have today, kind of just a map and then bring a little dot for us to put where we actually all live, so we can see where we maybe need to get some more input and representation from. Yeah.
Sort of cater to that idea that's actually in the municipal code that says the CAC should be well distributed around the city.
Yes, yes. All right. And then on the third tab there, and again, this is just kind of a rough draft that we'll be building out. These were some of the ways we were gonna start looking at our effectiveness and how we're actually reaching people. So we have the city committees, we have Facebook, we have the Troutdale Champion. I was not fully caffeinated by the time I did this. So what are some of the other ones that I missed and that you guys need to think of off the top of your head?
The First Friday presence. And then, because I know from one of the presentations towards the end of the summer last year that that Marley brought to council. They have a fantastic amount of data around, both around the number of people that stop by the City of Troutdale tent or table, but also just from like, I think it's using cell phone data and such, just how many people are coming to like First Friday and to the arts festival and stuff like that. And how that, there's possibly some interesting correlations there that can be made with like Facebook hits and such like that. I mean, I'm not a data analyst, it's not my forte, but I mean, it's something that we could potentially get some insights from like Marley and Erica and others.
Perfect, yeah.
I don't know, though, I guess it would depend on, it seems like First Friday, though, didn't we, didn't it get presented that's a lot of people out of the area?
It is.
So it really doesn't show us our citizen involvement, really, that's kind of outside the area, it's not our citizens as
Yeah.
much, but, so it'd be interesting, I guess, to look and see what there is, we might find there's not much of
Yeah,
anything.
well, didn't, on one of the first Fridays, wasn't there like a, or maybe I'm crossing things, but wasn't there like a map at one point where they like handed out stickers and they said, put where you live on the map? Maybe I'm
Not one that I
dreaming
was
about
involved
something
in.
else.
Not one that I was involved
I think that was
in.
one of the first ones when the CAC had the booth.
Oh, yeah. I could be thinking that for all I know.
Woodrow.
Woodrow, Troutdale Citizens Advisory President. I think these are all very important data points, but let's cast a larger net and let's even see if we can get, like, first Friday volunteer information. How many people, like, not just visited, but how many people participated, right? Not just unique entities, how many people did they bring from their entity? Even if they showed up for a little bit or something like that. These are all valuable data points that will really give us a very good perspective of what businesses are contributing to the events. You know, that tells you how important they are. If they just bring one person, you know, maybe they don't think it's that important. I think
They only have one friend.
exactly. That could be it. I mean, there's some of the soap, some of the tents, there was a lady who sold soap. It was just her, right? That's the sole proprietorship. But that's important too, because that's 100% participation if you look at it. But I think that we really need to stretch and just say, hey, let's use as much data as we can, so that we can then go through it and look at it and make some pretty good assumptions and some metric-based results.
Great. All right, well, I feel like we have a good starting place. Oh, I'm sorry.
I reached out to Molly King in RAC. She gave me the dates for the movie nights. So that's typically locals, so that
Yeah,
might be an
that
option
is.
as well. And then don't forget, Mountain Community College is starting the market here.
Yes, the farmer's market's coming back in
Yeah.
April.
And that's gonna be every Sunday?
I think so.
Yeah,
Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, it's Saturday and Sunday.
I thought it was
We
on-
were looked into it, yeah, it's
Yeah.
April to,
So that could be an opportunity, and then, Troutdale Trot is organizing again this year as well.
And then what night, did you know those off the top of your head, the movie night?
I can send that to you.
Okay.
if you like. Or it should be on, I'm hoping it shows up on our Troutdale Facebook.
Oh,
and
yeah.
others.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that totally will.
What's the name of that farmer's market? Is it just Mount Hood? Okay.
Yeah.
It's a big sign on Stark.
Yeah, it's a great big yellow sign.
Then I'm actively involved in the Edgefield concerts this year as well, so.
What was it?
The Edgefield concerts?
Oh,
When you play.
Yeah, right.
I think I need to start running again soon, so let me know when the trot is going to be up.
I'll give you the train.
I'm sure you will.
is it 5K or 10K?
What's that?
5K or 10K, the trot?
Yes.
Both?
Almost
Last year it was 5.
Oh, okay.
And it's a run, typically it's run a boardwalk. Most people do 5K. But I have a couch to 5K program, so I was talking to Record Up, so.
I'm on it.
All right, so I will add in the notes and we can look at this again next month. Goal setting for 2025, I feel like we did.
I think that was kind of all wrapped in,
Yeah.
I think it was kind of the source.
Any public comment on this agenda item before we move on to the next one? Not seeing anything, and so we can move on to staff communications.
Alrighty. So just a couple of updates, some planning related, some just general. As I mentioned, the code amendment that was heard at Planning Commission last month for the FEMA updates, that was pushed from the City Council on the 11th. Now it will be going to, I guess, May, because they have so much coming up with the budget, with the city manager recruitment, things of that nature. So they have a lot to go over. So that will not be going until May. That city council may be busy because it might be the FEMA edits are very minor, but I believe that might be even CFAC might be going for their first hearing as well. So there's that. Trying to think of any larger. There's not a whole lot of large actual applications in right now. We are very busy with applications, but most of them are pretty standard. Planning Commission in April, we'll be hearing a conditional use. That's my project for a child care facility going in off 257th. And trying to think that there's any other code amendments regarding planning. I know Nick has been working on a couple of site development reviews going on down at the wastewater treatment plant that Public Works is doing. So other than that, not a whole lot of large projects as far as that are in current planning. Besides long range, there are several long range projects. And as I mentioned earlier in the list that was submitted in the packet, those are all current projects that are going on. So again, CFAC may be coming back. We have I believe in April for the fire grant that we currently have, they'll be doing another like info session in the Palisades neighborhood. Because that's the primary focus of this round, last round and this round. I believe they're working on potentially another cleanup this summer. There'll be more information that comes out. I believe it's on the website, and then I think it'll also be posted on the Facebook. Chris Ann asked, that I don't want to forget this, that I inform everybody of on March 13th, there will be a community walk at Edgefield. Everybody is invited.
March 13th?
March 13th. March 13th, community walk.
Is there a name for that?
I believe it's just a community walk. I think they're usually posted on the website. That's just what Chris Ann pinged me to make sure I informed everybody of. Then another kind of update around the area. Where is it? We received an email about it today, and I heard about it in one of my meetings. The Stark Street Bridge will be reopening. There's a reopening ceremony on March 10th, which is Monday. So they're going to have everybody walk across. There will be a brief history lesson of the bridge. It will be reopened. There is still a lot of work that actually needs to be done, but it will be reopened to traffic starting on Monday. So that should help.
I thought it said tomorrow afternoon on Facebook.
Oh, this is from an email from Multnomah County saying Monday, March 10th.
That's when the ceremony is.
That's the ceremony,
But
yeah.
the Facebook, at least if I remember correctly, the Facebook post I saw said it was opening up Thursday afternoon.
Oh, okay.
They wanna make
The
sure
opening
it's
ceremony,
safe.
yeah.
I'll give it a few days.
Thursday afternoon, March 6th.
Okay, so the reopening ceremony will be on Monday.
Yeah, and they did note in the Facebook post that they're gonna have to close the bridge for the ceremony.
Yes. And then just a reminder that next month's meeting, the April 2nd meeting is canceled because I will be hopefully able to go on my trip to Japan. We'll see. If not, I might be out for a couple weeks after my surgery. So that is all, unless there's any questions or thoughts or anything for me. That's all the ones that I had queued up. Yes.
Tentative date for the linear park completion.
Oh, I am not entirely sure. I think they were hoping for the fall, but I can't speak to that 100%. I know I can ask Erica. She's been championing that along with Marley. They've both been kind of on top of that project. They have the grant for it and stuff, so I haven't been following that one. But I believe they're hoping for this fall. It's not supposed to go into the winter, so potentially summer, but latest I think fall. Yeah.
Thank you.
And for those of you who don't know, there is the next city council meeting which is no longer the 11th. There's some work that's done for the naming of the park.
On the park.
Yep. It'll be called the Sharon Nesbitt Heritage Park.
That's right.
It will be named after Sharon Nesbitt.
There's a great article in the Outlook on it.
Yep.
There is. There was, that city council, the last city council meeting, there was a large, that's where they went and asked council to approve. So now that has to be done through a resolution. So staff has some work to do to bring a resolution to council. But there was a large number of people here in support of it. Council seemed to absolutely adore it. So I believe that will be moving forward with no issues. And they all surprised Sharon, who was in the audience. So that was really cool to kind of be there to see. I guess one last update is the marijuana code update for marijuana facilities was approved at city council, last city council meeting. So now I'm just waiting for the ordinance, and then we will get our code updated online in the next couple of months.
Is that, I can't remember the name, do they still want to open that store up near Safeway?
Have not heard anything about the Khalifa. If they did, it does, what stands from Planning Commission and City Council still stands. That went to Luba, and Luba upheld the decision of City Council. So that still stands, and we updated some of the code language that Planning Commission also added to that code packet when it was in Planning Commission, is to also make sure that there's a subsection about additional requirements for marijuana facilities, and that's where it talks about schools and parks. We added language to also make sure to include community colleges as well in that distance requirement. And that's it.
Great. All right, go ahead and move to committee comments. I'll start with you, Kevin.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the process, even if it didn't turn out quite the way I was hoping, but that's fine. And I appreciate you all giving ear to my suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you. Frank.
I forgot to mention, Earth Day is gonna be in April. It's gonna be down in Glen Otto, and they're gonna be doing some plantings as well as other events with parks, so definitely listen.
What day?
Earth Day?
Oh, Earth Day.
Yeah, that'll be at Glen Otto. That's it. Yeah, done.
Great, thank you. Woodrow.
Good to see everybody in person again, so we're doing well. I missed your leg update, I'll talk to you later, so. But no, good seeing everyone. Great meeting.
Adrian.
Couple things. One, and I guess I could have asked this during staff comments, but is anyone talking to the county about the Galloping Gertie course that Buxton is turning into?
I know they're aware of it. I don't know from the county of what's going on with it or what they're planning on doing.
What do you mean?
Particularly if you're driving up the hill, some of the portions where they've done their ADA curb work, even driving 25 miles an hour, it's kind of a roller coaster at times. Some of the asphalt work is just graded very strange. Some of it is quite rough, and it's a mess. So I mean, you have to be kind of careful driving up and down Buxton these days. So yeah, that was one thing I wanted to mention. The other thing that I wanted to sort of mention to everybody is, assuming everything goes on track, there will be when the circular for the Spring Parks and Rec comes out, there will be an entry in there for a monthly family game night down at the Sam Cox building. We should have three sessions of that. It'll be on a Saturday. Look for the dates in that. Again, if everything goes to plan, that should be moving forward. So I'm looking forward to that. I look to see people there.
That's great.
And you said the information will be located where?
When the Parks and Rec book comes out, it should be in that. 'Cause I've been in discussions with Molly King for the last couple months on that, and everything should be moving forward, so.
Update on the town center committee. The RFQ has gone out. Our next meeting, we're gonna work on questions to ask at the interviews, or to have asked at the interviews, not all of us, but we're asking. If you can think of anything, you can pass them on to me, or Diane, and, we can pass them on to Ash. I found the interview process really interesting and fun last time. And then of course they're working on the trail, so. Anyway, that's the update on that.
Thank you. Is it completion date June, or did I make that up in my head?
Fall.
For
Isn't it
the trail or the
fall?
park?
For the, fall.
Isn't it fall?
I think fall, don't hold me to that, but
Okay.
I think it's supposed to be either summer or fall.
Late
I can't
Late
remember,
summer,
late summer,
fall.
yeah.
That'd be
I wanna
nice.
get on it, or I can do that. Thanks. Chris?
Well, I hate to beat on an issue that has been discussed quite a bit, but one comment I wanted to make is that, as I'm sure is obvious, I'm still very concerned about the parking out here. One thing that bothers me is that I know lots of people are parking on the street right here, probably because they're going to the businesses on the other side of the street, and there are signs in this parking lot that you shouldn't park here unless your business is in this building. But that also means there's a whole bunch of cars obstructing the view of the road, making it hard to know if someone's coming before I pull out to leave. And that bothers me very much. And I guess other than that, I would just say thank you all for another good meeting.
Thank you for organizing your thoughts on a spreadsheet, appreciate that. Thank you all for your input, it's really important that we discuss things, so I look forward to what we're gonna get accomplished this year, so thank you all.
Diane, I have to say, I'm so excited about the trail. I finally went to Depot Park, and I was envisioning like just some dirt and like, just, and then seeing, it's, the view from there. I'm helping to work on the panels for the historic markers along the Sandy with Len Otto and Sharon Nesbitt, Chris and others, and I think Grandma and Tribe as well. Then we'll all get together and then we'll look at each other's things with Marley and everything. But just standing there, you get a look at the railroad bridge, our Troutdale Bridge, Broughton Bluff, Beaver Creek, and the Sandy River. And so we're putting the history together and connecting all this. This is just, and describing everything and educating. It's just so, it's amazing. I'm so excited about that.
It would be awesome to live right there too.
Yeah, right, you do. I know, but it's for everyone. I mean, this is amazing, and we're gonna learn about the history, and we're also looking at it as an 8th grade level, which I said, I could so speak 8th grade level. So, this is perfect for me, and I don't know a whole bunch of, even though I've been on the Historical Society forever, I don't know a lot about the history, so when I'm getting to hear Sharon Nesbitt and Len, and then they're debating and discussing relationships and everything like that, it's just so exciting. And I could say, hey, let's talk about who Lewis and Clark is first, because I really don't know a lot about them. So it's good that I'm in the room. So, and then visual wise and my artistic, putting things together, making things pop. Sharon's amazing though. It's just such a treat. I appreciated the businesses coming, and I did direct them to council because hardly anybody speaks at council. I think besides their 2-hour discussion, council needs to get to meet the business people and holistically understand the plight or the, them trying to do their business and the difficulties in wanting to thrive within our limited parking. So I think it's a bigger conversation, and I think council needs to be educated, so I always I encourage any business to come and talk, come to council, non-agenda, and just kind of give an update, what's going on, what's some great things that are going, happening, and what some challenges are. So I think that's always a good thing. Also, like with the parking, I mean, my head is just going like, I'm really concerned about that, especially when we're trying to limit driving in a way statewide. So we're gonna have to get really creative here. I was even envisioning a trolley that hit the main streets in Troutdale to bring them to downtown. I mean, I'm just thinking that, I wanted this parking, but, short of that, I just think we're gonna have to get incredibly creative, because I know in Portland and different places, there's a lot of youth and they can walk long distances and such. We have a lot of working class folk that still are here. I don't know how many are retirement. I don't know what our demographics look like at this time. But that hill is a challenge in the winter. It's a challenge in the rain. And I have a bum knee. I don't know when it's just gonna stop. That's why I have to get a new electric bike. I pedal. When I can't pedal, I have assist. So I'm just saying, I don't know where that's going, but I know if there isn't parking opportunity, I've talked to the Troutdale Soda Shop, and they're very, very concerned. And I just don't want to see what happened at our coffee shop in Gresham. And I don't know for the different businesses, if it was more coffee shops coming in, but them not to be able to have the flow to accommodate people to gather. I'm very concerned about that. So that's why I'll always, like I said, the opportunities to hear from the businesses and ways, what their concerns are always important to me. And thank you I'm sorry about the leg. Hope for speedy recovery and a good surgery. And thank you for your care, Kevin. That's huge, and I'm looking forward to getting into that understanding about how our budget does work. And thank you.
I do have one more just base comment for the community. The Mount Hood Community College Jazz Festival is going on in April. There will be some performances in Troutdale, but they're also throughout Gresham and then also primarily at the Mount Hood Community College. So just wanted to throw that out there as well as another community event.
So I was wondering, just out of curiosity, so did Troutdale decide to be involved with that? Because I know they had a presentation at a council meeting about it.
They did opt to donate, I think it was 7,000, yeah, towards the festival.
Well, thank you guys, good meeting. I think the only update I have is last time, I think it was this committee, I was talking about a large area of non-draining water, and in the nod to Earth Day, I would just like to say that even though it is on the opposite side of the street, a beaver has come over and has taken down trees over there, and I think is trying to fix the water. I'm not sure, but nature is now has took note that something's not right, and he's trying to fix it. So I just hope the beaver does not get hit, because it has to cross the road to get over there. But it's been interesting walking my dogs every day and seeing what he has done. What'd you say?
He's chewing on the apple trees down by the barn.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
Better stay away from that concrete tree.
Concrete tree?
That will be rad. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Can I get a motion?
I motion that we adjourn.
I second.
All right, thank you. All right, everybody in favor, aye.
Aye.
Have a great night. Thanks, everybody online.